everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 3 Count. I'm Two Belts War Machine MJ. I'm here today to talk about Monday Night Raw. So let's go ahead and, well, before we jump right in, I just want to say I apologize for the lack of content after promising more content. Everything's just been kind of topsy-turvy for me, getting moved to a different shift, getting, a funky ass schedule, but now everything should be kosher. So, expect more content coming on down the line. So, that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of the 3 Count Raw, Monday Night Raw edition from, the 28th of June. So, yeah, we kicked off the show with WWE officials Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville announcing that Randy Orton couldn't make it to the last chance qualifying match on Monday Night Raw, so his spot would be given to the winner of a short notice battle royal. And before the match kicked off, Matt Riddle crashed the announcement by handing Adam Pearce a note that was from Randy Orton. That was clearly just Matt Riddle writing this note out of a green marker. And let me see if I can read this verbatim. It says, "Aloha, I, the Viper, Randy Orton, of sound body and mind, hereby declare that my best friend Riddle hitherefore take my place in tonight's last chance triple threat match. Riddle is the coolest, most bodacious bro I could ask for, and I would be honored if he were to fight on my behalf. Aloha, the Legend Killer." And he even drew a tiny little snake in the corner of the note. it's just so stupid that it actually works. But yeah, they said they couldn't, allow Riddle to be in the last chance triple threat, given that he's already qualified for Money in the Bank. But they did allow him to participate in the Battle Royal on behalf of Randy Orton. So we get to the Battle Royal. And to just go through this in breakneck speed. Drew Gulak was eliminated first, followed by Shelton Benjamin, who was eliminated. Angel Garza was eliminated by Ali and Mansoor. Afterwards, Ali told Mansoor not to trust anybody, after which Ali dumped Mansoor out of the ring. Let's see. R-Truth and Tozawa were eliminated. Of course, they took part in some 24/7 shenanigans as Drew Gulak pinned Tozawa before getting pinned by R-Truth, who then got pinned by Akira Tozawa, because the 24/7 title is still a thing, apparently, even though it hadn't been on TV in weeks. Omos, who is one half of the Raw Tag Team champions with the phenomenal AJ Styles, came out and eliminated Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, who have #1 contendership stake against Styles and Omos. Jinder Mahal was eliminated by was next eliminated. Cedric Alexander eliminated Jeff Hardy before Damian Priest eliminated Cedric Alexander, leaving just Riddle and Priest, who put on a banger of a you know short match between each other. And Damian Priest was eliminated by Riddle, who hit him with the Final Flash knee strike while Damian Priest was on the apron. And as soon as the announcer said Riddle's name as the winner, Riddle jumped out of the ring, ran over to him, and said, "No, announce me as Randy Orton." So the announcer obliged. Randy Orton's music hits. Matt Riddle gets up on the top rope, does the Randy Orton pose, and Orton's pyro goes off, and Riddle just jumps into a state of panic before he goes, "Right." And, it's the Orton pose. So he made it to the last chance triple threat match at the end of the night. Next, there was a backstage segment where AJ Styles was not happy that he had to was given another opportunity to re-qualify for Money in the Bank. Well, he wasn't happy about it being a triple threat, and he loosely referenced Steiner math, or at least the infamous Steiner promo. He didn't say 33 and a third percent chance, so. Afterwards, the announcer tried to give him some static, for almost going out there and eliminating the Viking Raiders. And then AJ pointed out that the Viking Raiders ambushed Omos last week, so yeah. Next, we had a backstage segment where Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, and Reginald tried to get on the same page with dealing with the Alexa problem. Of course, Alexa Bliss was lurking in the back. Yada yada yada. That led to Nikki Cross taking on Shayna Baszler, and before the match, we got a Nikki Cross promo where she has continued this inspirational superhero type thing. Which, side note, at first I thought it was just the worst thing imaginable, because I heard about it and all I could do is, but given the fact that it is that I've had time to mull on this, and the added inside fact of this is all her idea, I've kind of softened him up. I'm still not overly enthusiastic about the color scheme of her outfits, the yellow and blue. I'm not a big fan. Also, I wish she would stop using the word spark, because spark is the name of the logo for Walmart. This is tiny little star looking thing. Yeah, they call that a spark, and they say spark for like 3 or 4 different protocols at work, and it's ugh. But other than that, I think if anybody can pull this positivity superhero thing off, it's Nikki Cross. She seems like a genuinely nice human being. Speaking of superhero, she declared herself as Nikki Ash, or almost a superhero. I mean, technically it'd be AS, because superhero is one word. I, I honestly thought it was another stupid joke, like when when addressed Rosie as superhero in training, as shit, the acronym shit. But now it's just seems genuine. Anywho's, Shayna Baszler versus Nikki Cross. This was a back and forth match until Alexa Bliss came out and distracted everybody. Um, Down the stretch, they tried to do the hypnosis thing again, but they um, Nia Jax and Reginald kind of navigated that, without any incident, just in time for all three of them, Shayna Baszler included, to eat a big crossbody from Nikki Cross to the outside, and yeah, Shayna Baszler being distracted by Alexa Bliss at ringside, got into the ring and she got ambushed by a surprise roll up. You know, my props to Shayna Baszler for making herself more versatile by throwing herself into some of these hokier character moments, but I'm just tired of her eating chumpy L's. You know, and that's my 2 cents on it. Because I like Shayna Baszler. I love Shayna Baszler. I think she's awesome. You know, they booked her pretty strong before last year's Mania. But again, a credit to her for, branching out, but I'm kind of tired of her eating chumpy wins, eating chumpy losses. When Nia seems like she should be the one eating all these chumpy losses, but it's whatever. I'm not booking this. Speaking of great booking, next we had a face-to-face between not Bob Lashley, MVP, and Kofi Kingston. Of course, Kofi Kingston coming out to address what happened at the end of Raw last week. At the end of the Hell in a Cell match, where Bob Lashley just continued to wail on Xavier Woods, and Kofi just cut this absolute impassioned promo about Xavier Woods, and it's just beautiful. And he then declared his mission statement that he's going to beat Bob Lashley at Money in the Bank, and he's going to walk out as the new WWE champion. Well, MVP came out escorted by Lashley's honeys and basically laughed that idea off. And MVP was just the meat of his promo was essentially poking and prodding Kofi, try to get in his head. Of course, things broke down as they usually do, and MVP kind of shot his mouth off, saying he would beat Kofi if he wasn't injured, if he didn't have the bum leg. Kofi then laid him out with an SOS and just dogged on him. Next, we had a backstage promo with Eva Marie and Dewdrop. Okay. Now, for backstory's sake, during Eva Marie's initial run on WWE, or in WWE, I was not a big fan. I wasn't mean. I wasn't overly critical. It's just I didn't like it. She wrestled slow. She wasn't really thrilling or engaging. It's just, and I was planning on giving her the benefit of the doubt coming in, on coming back. Uh, but you know, still not swayed to actually get behind this. The one saving grace is Piper Niven is on, uh, you know, main roster TV, which is a big step because nobody has ever gotten called up from NXT UK over to the main roster. Now, there have been people who have been on an NXT TV or NXT UK and are on main roster TV, but they went through NXT Prime. So, but I'm not too thrilled on them calling Piper Niven Dewdrop. And what's worse is commentary suddenly not knowing who she is, even though she's been, a cornerstone of NXT UK since she debuted. But I get it. The Dewdrop part, that's a story beat. Because, they're already teasing dissension, or at least they teased it last week when Dewdrop just walked out on Eva Marie. Anyway, this backstage promo, basically Eva Marie was saying, oh, this is a chance for Dewdrop to redeem herself after that little hiccup, last week. Just downplaying that Dewdrop walked out on her. Yeah, the main meat of this match was the same as last week. Dewdrop was doing all the work, and when she was in a critical moment where she needed to tag, Eva Marie walked off like Dewdrop did the week prior, but Dewdrop more than held her own. She actually won the match by herself rather than eat the loss like Eva Marie did last week. Oh yeah, uh, Dewdrop beat Asuka and Naomi. Hooray! Yeah, and once again, Eva Marie pulled the same shenanigans where she declared that she won the match, only her. Next, we had a backstage promo where The Miz and John Morrison were getting interviewed about last week. And of course, during the interview, I wasn't really paying attention to The Miz. Like, I forgot what he was saying verbatim. But the camera closed in on Miz and Morrison, and when the camera panned back out, there was Ricochet conducting the interview. And he grabbed one of the, I'm not calling it that, one of the little water tubes, the ones that you pump up and then you squeeze. Yeah, he grabbed one off of Miz's cart, kind of blasted Morrison, who's wearing sunglasses, but he played like he had been legit shot in the eyes. And when Miz was going to grab his own water tube, Ricochet essentially held him up at 2 point, blasted him with water, threw the tube at him, and ran off. Which is pretty funny that he held him up at 2 point. It's dumb, but it's kind of funny. Uh, During the match, Ricochet, well, at the start of the match, Ricochet was dominating it. Um, he and Morrison battled to the outside, which Miz stepped in the way of Ricochet doing a big move. Ricochet, back Miz off, grabbed one of his water tubes, sprayed him in the face, snapped it in half, and threw it into the Thunderdome. We come back from commercial, and it's a more even match between the two. The finish came when Ricochet had knocked Morrison off to the outside, where Morrison was decided to make a tactical retreat and climb over the barricade. Ricochet, who did a springboard crossbody, clearing the barricade. Just, wah, just clearing the barricade, hitting Morrison, and the match ended in a double countout. Just, wah, just beautiful. I'll take that. Next, we had something that was muddied, dirty, ugly. Like, we had that beautiful spot between Ricochet and Morrison, and then we have this car crash. Had a 6-woman tag team match as Charlotte, Tamina, and Natalya took on Rhea Ripley, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke. I'm not sure who we're supposed to be rooting for in this, because the Tamina, Natalya, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke stuff, it's confusing, because this feud started because Rose and Brooke were taking pictures rather than training, but Natalya and Tamina were training, and then the next week Natalya and Tamina were taking pictures while Rose and Brooke were training. I don't know who I'm supposed to root for in that. Then there's this Charlotte Rhea Ripley stuff. It's confusing. This match wasn't too terribly it really wasn't too it really wasn't too engaging. Uh, yeah, Charlotte got the win for her team by by pinning Mandy Rose. Afterwards, Rhea Ripley hit a chop block on Charlotte after the match. I mean, are we supposed to root for Charlotte? Are we supposed to boo Rhea? Doesn't make any sense. Because Charlotte's still acting like Charlotte, and Rhea is still doing I don't know. Next, we had a strap match between Elias and Jackson Riker. Of course, Jackson Riker was the former, you know, supporting act for Elias. You know, his roadie, and it was pretty much one-sided. Uh, Elias got one or two moments of offense. Other than that, Riker ran over him and finished him in short fashion with a boss man slam. Next, we had a backstage promo between between Matt Riddle and Damian Priest. Of course, Matt Riddle keeping up the charade that he is Randy Orton, or he at least acting like Randy Orton. You know, being stoic, wearing a Randy Orton hoodie, you know, tying his hair up, just acting like Randy Orton. And all Damian Priest wanted to do was just give him props, give him his flowers, if you will. And it was pretty good. It's hilarious. And finally, that leads us to our main event, an absolutely unbelievable triple threat match between the phenomenal AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, and of course Matt Riddle posing as Randy Orton. Like, this was absolute barn burner of a match. All three men beat the hell out of each other. AJ Styles and Matt Riddle put Drew McIntyre through the announce table. Just so much. This was one hell of a car crash match. The finish down the stretch, Matt Riddle was beating up on AJ Styles on the outside and was gonna try and hit him with a PK while Styles was leaned up against the ring steps, but instead of connecting with Styles, Matt Riddle connected with the steps as AJ ducked out of the way. There was a hot minute where Matt Riddle was taken to the back while AJ and McIntyre beat the hell out of each other. Then moments later, Matt Riddle limped back out and continued the match. The finish came when Matt Riddle hit AJ Styles with the RKO, but almost dragged Styles outside before Riddle could capitalize. And of course, as soon as Matt Riddle popped back up, he ate a Claymore, and McIntyre got the victory. He has secured his last spot. Well, he has secured the last spot in the Raw side of the Money in the Bank match. So, yep, that's how it ends. So, yep. And that ends Monday Night Raw. Just, despite some segments that aren't that good, Monday Night Raw is actually starting to pick up its slack. It's not as good as SmackDown is, and SmackDown is just so close to being perfect. So close. But yeah, this is definite improvement. It really shows that they're actually starting to put eggs in their basket, leading into crowds being back. So yeah. Anyway, that being said, I'm not only your 3-count series champion, I'm also your first place champion in predictions, War Machine MJ, aka 2 Belts Machine. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bang.